My job is to create as many abstract female forms as I can, because there are more sculptures of horses in London than there are of women. My name's LR Vandy, I'm an artist and my studio is in Chatham within the historic dockyard. So I started making art about 10, 12 years ago when I sort of became disillusioned with my first, well, that wasn't my first career even, that was from my third. I was an art director and production designer for television and film and commercials, slowly edging myself away from it, and I got a lot of encouragement from friends and family to keep making things. So I sort of built a studio not unlike this in my sitting room and just started making. I always start with drawing because you're freer in a way. If I start immediately with the materials, I've been wasting a lot of materials. I usually work off about 50 to 80 drawings, and I mean they can be that big or this big, and then I'll go through them, and I have to leave it for a while. Then I'll take maybe 20 drawings and I'll stick them up on the wall, and then I'll start making from them. After that I never look at the drawings again, because once you've got the material, you start making mistakes. Oh, that's another one. And then you're off, you know, that becomes the drive. We came for lunch with some friends who've bought a house here, and they said, oh, we must take you to the ropery, I think you're going to love it. And, well, like everybody, I mean, the first thing anybody ever says when they walk in that ropery is, wow. I mean, it's just, you can just hear it constantly. And it was very inspiring. And I've never really looked at rope, to be honest, even though I was brought up by the sea. I worked in a chandler's, you know, I've never made that connection. But there was a piece of work in the room where they test all the pressure for the rope that, to me, if I turned it on its side, looked like a woman dancing. So that was just like great. I made hull pieces by the water. I'm now making rope pieces. There, you know, it's a nice little journey. The rope figures hold a lot of resonance in lots of different ways. You know, from corn dollies, grain mothers, maypoles, then of course all positive and negative associations with rope. I mean, once you've looked at rope like this, you can't stop looking at it. And I guess all of you people as well, if you see rope now, you'll be looking at it in a different way. I know it's true because it happens to everybody. Since being inspired by Chatham Ropery and making the smaller figures, I should show them to my gallery, and Liverpool National Museum's approached my gallery looking at artists, I guess. And I think it is just such a natural fit. You know, I'm in a dockyard, they're in a dockyard, it's rope. It's just a very, very good marriage. And what I wanted in the work, to give it the energy of dance, because dance is so important in our lives. Collaborating with the rope factory, I wanted to make a piece that showed their skills, rather than just, you know, making, say, one of my diner women bound in rope. That would be a waste of their talents. To have their skills involved has enabled me to step back a bit as well, to then rethink how it's going to be, and where I can then put, once I've drawn it up, when I can get actively involved, because I don't have the skills to make what they do. They'd never made something of that size. They've made fenders which have a similar kind of weave to the work that we're doing together, but they'd not worked on something on that scale in that same way. So they've put a lot of thought into this, and it feels like a real collaboration. I mean, they've all got to be credited on this job, because A, the generosity from the get-go, and B, the will to make this happen. It's a happy coincidence, isn't it? It wasn't as if I was searching the rope makers out. It kind of just evolved. And yeah, it is on the endangered list of craft, and it's such a pleasure to see them working with the machineries that have been going since the 1800s, which they repair. You know, they haven't bent to new technology because it all works. They chose the rope. I wanted to use a synthetic hemp because it's more fluid, but they were just saying, and you have to listen to them, that it's the wrong material for the job. So they know what they're doing, so you would listen, wouldn't you? So they're choosing the manila because it's more durable and it has more oil in it, so it'd be much more resistant to wet weather, and it will soak up less water. It's so thrilling to have a big piece of work, and the great thing is I proposed 3 sizes of the sculpture, 3 metres, 4 metres and 5 metres, and Nicola immediately said, well, it's got to be 5 metres, hasn't it? And I was like, yes, you know, to have a presence, basically. Scale is everything, isn't it? I think the great thing is if people walk away and think, I'd be happy. Public art is very divisive at times, isn't it? But I think it's very much in its location. It completely makes sense. I think people will naturally see that. I think it's interesting as well what can happen to a sculpture when it is outside in terms of its materiality. If work that goes outside can react to the elements, and let's face it, rope has been used in water for a long, long time, and that's kind of... But it doesn't last forever, it has a shelf life. So it's in its element in Liverpool, it belongs there for sure, or any dock in a way, really. But the weather, it will change slightly through the weather, and I think that's something rather nice. You know, there's a lot to take in, and I think there's a lot that you can get out of if you care to think, you know, about it. And I'm hoping that the sculpture that I've happily been asked to create by Liverpool National Museums is going to provoke thought